Tonight on The Reno Show, Denise is revealing the different types of money personalities we have. Rowan's got the best ways to check the integrity of your bathroom, and I'll show you the best way to work out how much your reno will cost. Mark's back to shed some light on the Melbourne property market, and organisation queen Marissa is here to tell us how to stay organised during a bathroom renovation. Welcome to The Reno Show. On the couch right now is Denise Duffield-Thomas. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
So from DeniseDT.com. So we're tonight going to be talking about money personalities and how they can really either accelerate or truly make the experience interesting. I think is the easiest way to put it. Interesting when you're renovating. So Tell me a bit about money personalities, just so people understand them.
Okay, so in previous videos we've talked about money blocks, and there's definitely some universal money blocks that a lot of people have, so go check out that video if you haven't watched it. But what I discovered too, and I'm certified in a method to teach this, is that there are very distinct money personalities. And it's very interesting because if we just got to work by ourselves and we didn't have to work with other people, life would be lovely.
If everyone, are you saying, Denise, if everyone was like us, everything would be great?
No, if everyone just did what we told them to do, it would be great. But the truth is, in any project, and especially with Reno, you can't do it all yourself because that would be stupid.
And by law, you can't.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
But especially, I know a lot of renovators who are husband and wife teams.
Correct.
Yes, which is interesting because I work with my husband and I know it is both a blessing and a curse.
And we've renovated with your husband.
Yes.
We love you, Mark.
Yes, we do. We promise. But also you have other people involved. You're not just doing it in a vacuum. So the truth is that everyone's money personality who comes into contact with your project really can affect everything.
Absolutely everything.
Yes. So I want to run you through, there's 8 different personality types and I'll be very quick on them. You can find out lots of information. I'll give you the quiz link later so you can find out yours. But you might already kind of go, that is me, or oh, that is my chippy, or that is my partner, or that is my mortgage broker who tells me I can't do it, or whatever it is. So just keep in mind as you're listening about what ones resonate with you, because the truth is our true personalities are your top 3.
Okay.
So you're a combination of 3 different personality types. So the first one is the accumulator. The nickname for the accumulator is the banker.
Oh.
So these are the people who are really good at the numbers, great at the spreadsheets, always stay on budget.
Okay.
That's not me, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's not. All right.
It's not. So that's the accumulator. The next one is the alchemist. So the alchemists are the ones who are very optimistic about things and often just wish that things would happen by magic. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So the ones who are like, it'll work out.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about the budget blowout.
Yeah,
Everything's going to roll.
I'll find the money.
It'll turn up.
But that's the thing it does. For accumulators, the money and magic often does show up and it can be really frustrating for people around them.
Okay,
but
for the alchemists?
No, for people around the alchemists.
Okay.
Because the alchemists usually just pull it out of the bag. You know, and people are like, how did you do that? And you're like, I just manifested it. And it always works out for the alchemist. They're the magical thinkers.
Okay.
The next ones are the connectors. So these are people who are brilliant at networking.
Right.
And I would say that you've got connector in your personality too, because you know everyone. You love connecting people.
I do like connecting people, absolutely.
And you're a brilliant networker. So you always know, oh, this person's the right person for this person. So you need connectors in your team.
On your team, that's part of Dream Team.
Oh,
Having
absolutely.
a connector on your dream team can mean that your dream team comes together like that.
Yes, and the connectors are really good at knowing who is good and who is not good.
Absolutely, and they're usually quite open and honest about it.
Yes, so I mean, this is why I think you've got that in you, because
I'm
you said,
blunt.
who are you using as a builder on your next project? And I sat and you went, don't work with that person.
I did do that.
Yes, and I was like, that is so invaluable to me. So that's why connectors are so valuable on any kind of
I may have
build.
been a little blunt, yes.
Yeah, which is good. The next one, I've got my notes here because I always forget all of them. The nurturers.
Okay.
Right, okay. So this shows up a lot in when I work with entrepreneurs.
Okay.
These are the people who just want to make sure everyone's okay. Not great with boundaries.
Are they the renovators? This is really interesting. They the renovators that go, I know that he could be working a little quicker on that job, but he's really nice and I just love, and I'm okay if I have to pay him an extra 4 hours to do what should have only taken 2.
Yes.
Okay. They're not good for your budget.
They're not, but say, for example, you had a nurturer on your team. The nurturers are the over-givers, the over-deliverers, the people who always go the extra mile.
You know what? You want one of your tradies to be a nurturer.
Yes. Or you're a designer, or the lady who brings you your flowers for your home staging because she'll always put in extra ones for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no good or bad personality types.
No.
You notice it's just making sure that everyone's in the right.
Everyone fits their role.
Exactly.
Okay, what's next?
The next one is the maverick.
So she looked at me then.
Only because Maverick is my number 2.
Maverick's my number 2.
Yes. So Mavericks are the risk takers and the rebels. So the way that this shows up for me is that I often don't do my due diligence. I make very quick decisions on things because I don't like to go deep. I just go, yeah, that sounds good. And I do it. So I've bought properties that I shouldn't have bought.
Correct.
Yes.
And just because you're a maverick doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a maverick in property. For example, I'm excessive with my due diligence.
Okay.
But for some, in property.
Yes.
But for some things like, let's start a Reno show, I'm a maverick.
That's fine.
And so it's not always just in the one area, is it?
Well, this is a good thing. Mavericks are really quick at making decisions. So when Mark and I go and look at tiles, for example, we're not like going to look at 50,000 tiles. We're just going to be like, that one looks good. The way that we kind of temper that is that we get expert advice.
Absolutely. So that aren't mavericks.
Exactly. So then people go and do the research for us and they go, here are the 3 best tiles, and we go, that one.
Okay.
Because
that can actually be an epic virtue on a renovation site.
Absolutely.
A huge virtue, because sometimes you can literally teeter between 2 or 3 decisions and it just doesn't let up.
As long as we're making the right decisions. So as I've mentioned before, Mark and I have bought properties that we shouldn't have bought because we bought them too quickly.
Yep.
The other way that this has been really good for us, good or bad, is that we once wanted to buy a property that was way out of our price range. And I said to my financial advisors, give me 4 weeks, I'll go get the money and I'll bring it back. That is a total maverick thing to do,
isn't it?
because we set ourselves really high targets, but you've just got to watch yourself that you don't go into a risky kind of area.
Okay.
Which is very similar to the next one, is the ruler.
The ruler.
So this is actually my number 1. The rulers are the workaholics, the empire builders, the big vision people.
Okay.
So I often do this as well, where I will set a goal for myself to, say, pay off my mortgage in 2 years.
That is a big, hairy, audacious goal in our country now.
Especially since I'm a ruler maverick, right? So I'm very confident in going, you know what, I'll just work my butt off and I'll make it happen. The problem with rulers is it's never enough. So you've got to really watch yourself. So then you set another one? You set another one to do it quicker the next time.
Okay, and bigger.
Bigger. So you've got to watch yourself if you're a ruler, especially if you're a ruler maverick like me, that you don't set unrealistic goals for yourself and your team. And you don't go, you know what, we did that Reno in 12 weeks, next time let's do it in 4.
And the upside to the ruler, though, is if they have vision, they could be amazing in those initial stages of your renovation. Where, you know, if, for example, you're not a ruler and you're maybe thinking really inside the box, and you have someone come and go, oh no, let's put the kitchen on the other side. You know, they're not limited by all the things that you might be going, no, I can't do that, I can't do that. Yes. Someone just goes, oh my God, the floor plan would be brilliant with the kitchen up there. Yeah. That's when a ruler would be amazing.
Totally, and rulers are real workaholics, right? So the rulers aren't gonna go, you know what, I'm not gonna work on the weekend. So again, you want some rulers on your team who don't mind working really hard. Rulers, though, you have to watch that you actually take time to go on holidays, so you don't put your projects back to back. You space out your projects. You're realistic about your time frames, so you don't burn yourself out, because that's probably one of the biggest challenges
of a ruler.
Okay. Same with the nurturer, though, but nurturer is in a different way. It's because they're overgiving so much.
Oversharing.
Whereas a ruler will just work themselves to death, and it won't ever be.
Well, then we lose them from our team. So not cool.
Exactly. They've just got to be in the right spot, and you've got to set some boundaries around it for yourself if you're a ruler, especially if you've got a family as well. Totally. You know, you don't want to spend all your time renovating and not enjoying your life.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yes. So then the next archetype, which is a really fun one, is the celebrity.
Oh.
So these are
Tell
people...
me about that. How
Yeah.
can you be a celebrity money personality?
So the celebrities are often people who love to spend money.
Okay.
They love things very high end,
Okay.
very flashy, and can sometimes be a little bit just not wanting to know the details about money. So often, if you're in your unhealthy side of your celebrity, you can rack up a lot of credit card debt,
Okay.
for example. If you're in your healthy side of it, you have a beautiful discerning eye and you have the most exquisite taste. So you can see
Nice.
it is great having celebrities on your team when it comes to if you want to do a high-end reno, for example, because they just have that natural eye for things.
To
and
discern what's necessary.
Exactly, and they
Okay.
want to make things look beautiful. Which, you know, sometimes you're on a reno and people just want to do what's practical and it looks terrible.
That's when you've totally missed the mark.
Absolutely. So the celebrities are usually ones who they know what's in fashion, they know what's on trend, they're probably reading the magazines, so they know exactly
And know
what's
how
what.
to deliver it.
Absolutely. So when you're in your healthy side of the celebrity, hopefully you can get that look, but without blowing your budget.
So imagine, because that's the 8, right?
No, there's one
Oh,
more.
one more.
It's the romantic. So romantic's my third one. Romantics love ease and flow. So they don't like to overcomplicate things because they're kind of a little bit lazy, which is me.
Well, that's only if it... I like the ease and flow much better than the lazy word. Ease and flow.
Ease and flow. So the romantics love the finer things in life, for sure. So they love things that are beautiful and
Comfy
high-end.
lounges, feather inserts, good
Exactly.
tea.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And just for things to work and for things
Yeah.
to have ease in their life. So as I mentioned, I'm a ruler, maverick, romantic. My husband is a ruler, maverick, celebrity. Yeah. So the reason why we're sharing these archetypes is for you to really know who you are, but also to have a look at people on your team and make sure they're in the right fit.
Absolutely.
And especially if you're working with your partner or you're working with a business partner or your life partner, you can get in trouble.
And one of the things that I love so much about what you do, Denise, is it helps me understand other people.
Yes.
So, for example, you know, if I'm working with someone who may be a celebrity or maybe even a romantic, what I'm interpreting as their behaviour in my team when I'm renovating is actually very different to what it is for them. You know,
Absolutely.
And so I think there's so much to be learnt from this. Denise, what is actually the URL people can go to? Because people are like, what am I?
I know,
I'm a maverick, I'm a
exactly.
ruler, what am I?
Yeah, so I'm certified in this method, which is, I want to give credit to Kendall Summerhawk, this is her work, but I'm certified in it, so you can take the quiz at my website at denisedt.com/quiz.
Perfect. So the reason that I'd love you all to jump over and do that is, one, find out where you are and try and look at not only the limitations that might be with that, but also the ways you can really dial that up and maximize your innate money personality in your renovation, and also about where you might need to position people around you with different money personalities to get your renovations on time, on budget, looking amazing for you to enjoy to live in or to sell on.
Absolutely. And you can use it even in your marketing. You know, if you think this house would be perfect for a celebrity personality type, you play that up in the finishings you use, in the language that you use when you're going to sell, everything.
Oh my gosh, transfers through all parts of life.
Oh, definitely. And it saves your marriage too if you work with your spouse, by the way.
It really could, couldn't it? All right, guys, jump over, find out your money personality. And actually, I'd love it if everyone commented below at the end of this show and let us know what money personalities you are, because it would be so intriguing. Yeah. Thanks so much again, Denise. I love having you on the show. Hey Rowan, I had a viewer email in the other day and say to me, I'm really struggling with how to inspect bathrooms.
Good question,
I'm really struggling with knowing whether there's anything behind the tiles. Is everything okay in the wall? Like, how do I know?
Yeah, because a bathroom too is an expensive room at the best of times.
It's an investment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big investment. So it's important to know, again, what you're buying into when you buy these properties for renovation. So there's a few things you can look for,
What's
a few
your top
telltale signs. I'm a big fan of the drummy tile.
Oh,
Yeah, just a couple of taps around, putting a bit of weight on walls that have got tiles and seeing if they're moving.
So you literally mean just because People, you literally mean like putting, because I often look like a Marcel Marceau in a bathroom. like putting weight on the walls. You're literally applying just a bit of weight to the walls to see whether they push back.
They move, yeah, because if we understand the way a wall is constructed, there'll be a timber or a metal stud in the wall. There'll be a sheet of some description, whether it's fibro or FC or whether it's chipboard or asbestos, fixed to that. And then your tiles will be fixed to that again. So if you've got water penetration in a wall, the first thing that's going to go is your timber work or your stud work.
Which makes it flexy.
Which means that, the fixing from your sheet to that stud is going to be either corroded or not there. So then that sheet's going to be virtually floating free. And then the only thing sometimes holding it together is the tile glue.
And another great way to see when that's happened is you often see the tiles start to cup out.
Yeah, start to cup out.
Because they've got so much movement that sheet that they start to cup out.
And you'll see bits of grout and stuff will start to, if you can pick grout out from between tiles, that's a bit of a giveaway as well.
Oh my gosh, I've got heaps of tips here. Has the grout popped out? That's a bit of a tip to go start to tap. So when we say something sounds drummy, it literally, instead of sounding solid like a slab of concrete, it'll sound hollow.
Like a...
Yeah, exactly.
Like the tailgate of your ute.
Yeah, so grout falling out. Then we get drummy tiles, we get flexi walls.
Get flexi walls. You can sometimes, mildew's another good one too. So, because if you've got moisture inside your wall cavity or inside your ceiling cavity, what will happen is the mildew will grow from the inside out. So the mildew you see, you can't actually clean off because it's under the paintwork. So that's always a good sign as well.
That there's some water in the cavity.
There's some water in the cavity also.
Another one is to check the sealant or the gaps or the silastic or the silicone, you could call it anything you wanted, around the base of the shower. If it doesn't have good integrity, that's the first sign to kind of go, oh, what's gone through there at the same time. Another big one for me is looking at the bottom of the architrave around the door.
Yes.
And if there's a little bit of gap between the tile and the bottom of the architrave, or if that has started to rot out, I'm like, oh, well, there's obviously been some water here or there's been some drop here.
That's right. And when we were talking earlier about inspecting your subfloor, if you get the ability to, and if you're in a house where you can quite easily see underneath it, get down underneath the bathroom and have a look up and see what you can see that's potentially coming through the floor or the floorboards or any sort of water staining that's been there previously. That's also a bit of an indication.
Hey, I think it's really important to say, it's not like you're going to go under the bathroom and you're going to see like water dripping.
No, well, hopefully not.
No, if you do, you're in trouble because someone left the shower on. But what it could just be the timbers look slightly darker because they're moist, or it could be that underfoot there, it's moister, or there's actually vegetation, because that water has actually been seeping
that's a really
through.
Really good point too. And sometimes you can see like cavities in the dirt under the house where there's been dripping as well. It's just been working its way through there.
Absolutely.
So there's a few things like that. What was the other one I just thought about as well, which was, your shower taps often have the, because they'll cut a penetration in the tile to get the tap out of the wall. And if you can take the top of the tap off, sometimes this is a bit tricky and it's hard to do on an inspection sometimes, but if you can get the tap off and take the skirt off the tap, you can see whether they've put silicone around that that tap penetration in the wall.
Or whether, if the tap was leaking, it's just been dripping down through the wall.
It's been dripping down through the wall. So that's another good little cheeky spot to check as well.
There you go.
So,
that's like 5 things. So popping grout, integrity of your silicone, door jambs, drumming tiles, flexi walls, mildew. Wow.
A lot of things you can look for that will give you a little bit of an indication as to the condition, what's happening behind the walls and floors.
Right. And finding some grout popping out does not mean the end of the world. It might actually just be the beginning of the process.
That's right.
So it doesn't mean that the whole bathroom's gone to pot.
That's right. And let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, these are pretty high wear and tear areas. So there's always, there's normally going to be some sort of water penetrating at some stage, like kids let baths overrun and things like that, and sometimes adults. So I mean, accidents happen, But it's just a matter of equating what you think you want to do with that room and
how working it into your program.
Yeah, working it into your program. So yeah, by no means does some water penetration or damage mean
the end of the world.
The end of the world at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It's again about just finding the signs, working out what you need to do to stop that happening again, and then how you can actually move forward with the renovation.
Yeah, and if the skeleton of your room's good, then you know you've got good bones to build on. So yeah, go for it.
Enjoy your bathroom renovation. Hi guys, it's Naomi here. Are you ready to begin your renovation journey but you're worried about going over budget? Or are you dreaming about a certain look for your property but you're just not sure how much it's actually going to cost you? Do you keep tossing and turning, worrying about whether you've underestimated the cost of your entire renovation project? Almost every single renovation project ever undertaken, if not every single one in the country, has had a budget. Everybody has a limit on how much they're willing to spend on their home. And this rings even more true when it comes to renovating for wealth, because the budget for renovating for wealth projects are generally a lot tighter than a normal renovating for self-enjoyment project. Why, people ask? Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting bang for buck and profit. So that is why it is so important to establish a good budget and stick to it before you even pick up tools on your project. If you can get a good budget together early on, you don't have to worry about running out of money or leaving the best ideas in the dust. So have your budget mapped out before you even pick up your tools. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have every single tiny thing thought of and mapped out, because sometimes a spanner might pop up and it might get into the works and it might be completely beyond your control. But if you've got a good solid budget in place, it'll help you reduce the impact of this spanner that gets in the works and the impact that it'll have on your budget and your overall profit. So what you want to do is have a well-researched budget locked in place before you get started, before you get your hands dirty in the actual renovating side of things, and make sure you stick to that budget. So no matter how much of a whiz you are at working out your renovation budget, none of that matters if you bail at the first sign of a new kitchen idea or a cool lighting feature. New things come up all the time in this industry, and it is so tempting to shift course halfway through a renovation project to accommodate them. So make sure that you don't stray from your budget. You need to have a budget spreadsheet with you. So one of the things that I use and I teach my students to use is a software package. It's very extensive. For one that you can use, it breaks down absolutely everything in a really easy to follow way. When you're picking out your new tiles or the colour of your kitchen benchtop, you can add these costs into the spreadsheet and the software as well. This way you can keep an eye on the overall budget and make sure you don't blow it at any point. But how do you work it out in the first place? How do you even get to a figure? So there are 4 main ways that you can work out the costs of different areas of your renovation. So these 4 ways can be combined with one another to give you a really solid idea of the real costs of the renovation. Now, the first way to do this is to actually get your trades or your team to quote, okay? So that's the first one that you can do. Now, if you're just starting out, this is ideal. And it's also really important if you are just starting out to get at least 3 quotes from different trades for the same job. This way, you'll be able to compare them and see which one suits your budget, as long as you're comparing apples for apples. So don't fall into the trap of just going for the cheapest quote. They could be the cheapest for a reason, and that might be the reason that they ended up being able to see you that exact afternoon that you called them, okay? So the best place to start when you're looking for a perfect tradie is to actually ask family and friends, or even work colleagues. Many trades that survive and thrive do that through word of mouth recommendations. And let's be honest, You can never be too sure if an online review or a testimonial that isn't a video or doesn't have data attached is even from a real person. But people will always know, people you know will always put forward trades they've had a good experience with. So using a tradie recommended by a friend or a family is also a huge benefit. So if you're sniffling around getting multiple quotes, that is fantastic. But one of the things you've got to be really careful of is if you are getting multiple quotes and your trades know that you're getting multiple quotes, don't be surprised if one of them one day doesn't show up for a quote, because more than likely they're out there actually doing paid work. So fixed price quotes are amazing so that you don't get a nasty surprise down the track when the final bill comes in and it's a lot more than the estimate was. Which actually leads me to my second point, an estimate. The second way you can price up a renovation is actually by an estimate from a trade that you know and have worked with before. Okay, so I mentioned above, it's usually best to get a quote, right? Rather than an estimate. And this is especially important if you've never ever worked with a trade before. But you might have already worked with this painter before. You may already know their work. They may be a regular that you call upon for touch-ups. You call upon each and every job that you've done, or your friends and family call upon. So in this case, if you're on good terms with them, you know them well, and you know they've been reasonably priced in the past, then it is an absolute great opportunity to get an estimate from them. And that way, what you're avoiding is the actual trades having to incorporate the what if factor into their quote. So a quote is fixed, an estimate is something based on what they can see they're estimating the job would be. So the other great reason you might have to work with an estimate rather than a quote is when you're dealing with an upgrade that you haven't yet set in stone. So sometimes you're not quite sure exactly the way it's going to pan out until you do your demolition. So working on an estimate basis gives both yourself and the tradesperson that little bit of wiggle room in what you're going to undertake together. But again, try and leave the estimating to the trades that you already know and that you have a really good connection with. That way, you'll be in less chance of having your estimate changing too much. Now, the third way you can cost things up is to calculate by calculating the cost of all the bling, okay? So bling does occur in renovations. Gorgeous bench tops, beautiful tapware, beautiful splashback tiles, all these sorts of things add up. These are your material costs. So it might be your hardwood flooring, it might be your amazing panelled doors. What you need to do is make sure that whilst you're pricing up your quotes and your estimates from your trades, that you're also pricing up the materials that are going to be going into that property. And remember, different levels of property will have a different level of finish, which will have a different cost. So make sure that you're not just doing a generic costing based on a previous project, unless it's an identical level of finish and an identical target market. Now, number 4 is practice makes perfect. The last way of working out your budget is usually reserved for those who have already renovated quite a few projects in the past. They have a few projects up their sleeves too. So once you roll through a few renovation projects successfully, you'll become better and better and better at working out your costs. You won't need to spend nearly as much time getting quotes, finding different trades, or endlessly browsing through tile shops to find how much tiles are going to cost you or how much appliances are going to cost you. You'll already have all this information from your previous projects written down that you can pull up from a handy database maybe. So you'll have not only that, you'll have your team in place, ready to go. So you won't need to be shopping around, so you can pretty much get an accurate estimate from them as well as from the past data. Realistically, guys, this is all about becoming your own renovation expert. To make things a heck of a lot easier for you when you're starting out, I have some awesome software in the Rapid Renovation Formula that you can use that's based on all the stuff you need to do. It can show you your trade costs. It can even include your level of finish. Not only that, it is software that will be able to do a complete cost estimation for you. So guys, invest serious amount of time and effort in costing up your renovations, and you'll be one step closer to having a happy renovation. What about Melbourne? Has to be one of my favourite cities in our beautiful country.
Yeah, well, they've had such strong growth, like talking to
Melburnians are laughing.
They are laughing, and it's like one of the most livable cities in the world.
It is.
It's my wife and I's little home away from home. We get down there quite a lot from Newcastle to Melbourne. And in the city, again, super strong.
Yes.
In the suburbs surrounding the city, super strong. We've seen an exodus of a large percentage of those sort of Chinese buyers paying the really, really big money. The apartments aren't selling as quick.
Yes.
A lot more investor networks are being used to sell the apartments now.
Yes.
So again, it's coming back to, is it easily replicatable in the apartment scene, or is it got proximity and is it a fantastic offering?
So you reckon they're going to stay strong?
I think Melbourne has got some great growth drivers. Population is one of them.
Yes.
Education is another one.
Yes.
It's easy to get around. It's easy to get in and out to. The livability of it. So.
And it's a sporting hub. I know that the New South Welsh women and men will really hate me saying that, but it is. It is the sporting hub of our country. It has so much going on there.
They've set it up really well, and so it's one of those things where it's had a really heated run. So, you know, are we expecting the same sort of growth year on year? Well, no, none of the economists are talking that way. But, you know, there's a lot of suburbs that will still have growth, single digit growth most likely.
Yep.
But it'll be growth because it's hard to replicate, because it's a great place to live, because there's jobs, because there's transport, because there's education.
Because of all the drivers.
That's right.
I love it. Now, when we think about renovating our house, everyone thinks about their kitchens and their bathrooms and what high use areas they are. But if you spare a thought for the good old laundry, the laundry is actually quite a high use space as well. And so often I find people go into renovating their laundry spaces a little bit unprepared because they don't see it as one of the big rooms. And in fact, most of us use our laundries every day, every single day, and quite a bit for storage as well. So I have with me here today Marissa Roberts from beautifulyorganised.com. Welcome back, Marissa.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thanks. To talk about some of the things you can do to simplify, streamline, and keep your world sane during your laundry renovation. So where do we start?
Well, the laundry is absolutely a high use area.
We're
used to using it multiple times a day, and your needs in your life when you're renovating aren't going to change.
Still got to wear clothes.
Still got to wear clothes every day.
Still got muddy soccer boots or muddy rugby boots or...
Absolutely. And to lose the space that is normally the comfort area of our home, it doesn't have to look perfect. It can get a little muddy. To lose that opportunity and move everything elsewhere while you're renovating can cause a lot of high stress.
Okay, so what do we do?
So first step is always to simplify and declutter. Take out anything you won't be using over the 6 weeks or so during your renovation and only keep the essentials for that time.
Okay, so what are the essentials?
Well, you're going to need an iron, you're going to need an area to wash, you're going to need your cleaning supplies, and everything needs to be accessible quickly and easily so that you're not going in and out of your reno space.
Okay, so how do we do that? What's the best step? What's the first thing?
Your best step is to look at the biggest area you can find and how you can use it in multiple ways. So set yourself up with a bit of a temporary washing system, a big counter space for folding / ironing, and some hanging room in case you encounter wet weather at the same time.
Okay, and realistically, you could even have a temporary washing machine space out in the garage.
Absolutely.
You could, if you don't have a garage, you could actually ask a neighbour and say, can I just, for, you know, literally 3 weeks, pop my washing machine in your garage?
Yep.
So you can have your laundry station at your own home, but pop next door just to run the stuff through the machine.
Absolutely. The key is to keep it as simple as possible and not have to cart everything you need around and add more travel time to doing your laundry.
Now, I must admit, I'm certainly not an advocate of hand washing. We're not advocating hand washing, are we?
No, to be honest, I usually recommend that people think more carefully about the outfits they'll be wearing as opposed to how they're going to wash what they're going to wear.
So for me, being a non-ironer, I wouldn't ever imagine to buy an outfit that needed an iron.
No, this is where your lightweight or your crepey fabrics really come into play.
Absolutely. And I guess the other idea might be during the renovation time, think about outsourcing. If your kids' uniforms or your uniform or your husband's uniform or your flatmate's uniform needs ironing, then maybe during that time, tee up someone to do the laundry for you.
Yep.
Outsource that.
Yep, laundry, ironing, dry cleaning, whatever you can get out of that house, do it.
And because generally it's only for a short period of time. Laundries don't generally take as long as our kitchens or our bathrooms, and so it is absolutely a perfect prospect to consider.
That's right.
All right, get to it, guys. Hack into that laundry. It's often, as Marissa said, it's often our comfort space, and it's often a forgotten space when it comes to renovating. But I tell you what, when you do have to do the laundry, if you're in a space that's full of love and colour and function, it makes it a whole lot nicer to be involved. Hey guys, have you heard about the amazing new renovation app? It is the rapid Renomate app for your phone, for iPhones and Androids, and it has just taken renovation to a new level of ease. It can track everything from your timelines to your budget, to your paint colours, your supplies and your tradies. It has truly transformed, streamlined and made the renovation process so much easier. If you'd love to get your free app right now, click the link below and download it immediately to your iOS or your Android device. Happy renovating! Next time on The Reno Show, I'll help you find the perfect real estate agent to sell your property. Jen from Interiors Addict is giving us a glimpse into her very own renovation. Rowan is here to uncover the many types of treated pine that you could be using. And Mark is back to shed some light on the Sydney property market. And naturopath entrepreneur Tammy Guest is here to give us some tips about keeping up the tempo whilst renovating. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel to receive weekly renovation and lifestyle inspiration. If you have a question about today's show, leave a comment below and we'll be sure to get straight back to you.